going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Dauntless Outdoors. Today's episode, we're diving out. We are like close to miles offshore, not exactly sure. We are trying to shoot some wahoo today. Wahoo, blackfin, and mahi. So it's pretty calm out here. Nothing too crazy. A little bit of wind chop. We got Drake, Matt, and Troy. And we are loaded out with guns. So we're gonna hop in and hopefully see some nice fish. What's going on, y'all? Just gonna hop right into it here. This is Matt's clip here. He's going down. Spotted a couple nice wahoo, so he threw a flasher, and they came in real nice to it. As you can tell, they're pretty hot. So swam up real fast. Got a really nice shot on that fish. He knew it wasn't gonna pull out. Grabs his flasher, and as you can see, that float is taking off.
Wahoo!
And that was the first fish of the day. Pretty awesome right there. Super cool to see from the boat. I watched the whole thing play out. It was pretty awesome. But as you can see, he's doing his best to keep up with that float, try and catch it back down, make sure it doesn't go too far. And he's got that gun on his shoulder, making sure he doesn't lose track of where that is. And doing an awesome job. As you can tell, he's definitely shot a float line a couple times before. So he's chasing this thing down, making sure it doesn't get too far. I am in the boat just in case it were to take off and go really far. I could track it down on the boat, and all these guys are sticking together, so I know where they're all at. So he catches up to it and fights the fish.
Little guy.
Hold him up sideways. Yeah. Wahoo!
Not a bad start.
No doubt. Alright, we're gonna keep moving. So Matt landed that nice wahoo there, and he hopped in the boat. I jumped in the water, and the way we're doing this is whoever shoots a fish or a nice fish hops in the boat, and then whoever was in the boat hops in the water. So now I'm in the water. This is Drake's cam. He's headed down. That same school that Matt just shot one out of is still around. He threw a flasher, came right in, and he slowed this clip down for me. Gets really nice shot right in between the two fins on top. That's a really common shot people take on a wahoo. It typically doesn't pull because it's a little bit tougher towards the tail there. And he, as you can hear, that reel is ripping. So he heads up to the surface and lands his first wahoo. It's a pretty awesome moment right there.
What you got, buddy?
Let's go, baby!
Woo!
My first wahoo, let's go, baby!
Hell yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
So good! Ah, on the reel. So damn good. Oh.
We got that one too. Bring him over.
Oh, I haven't killed him yet. Let me brain him.
So Drake got that first wahoo. It's only been about 10-15 minutes into the day, so we knew we were saddled in for an awesome day here. Got out here looking around, and this is my first couple dives here. I spotted that same school. They're a little bit smarter now, trying to keep their distance. I've thrown a couple flashers, and I could take a couple of these shots here, but they're pretty far. I wanted to be sure that I was going to get a real solid holding shot, and these fish are kind of sticking around us, so we weren't rushing any shots here. So I see him again go down. They definitely didn't want to give me a shot here, so I decided the best thing I could do was head back up to the surface and try and throw a flasher in front of where they were going, so they didn't have to turn around to it. And it ended up working out real good here. A couple of them did actually do a full U-turn from the front of the school, and that convinced the back of the school to just stick around and check that out. And as you'll see, got a couple swimming up to my left. I'm making sure I get a real nice breath just to make sure I'm calm and I can actually think through which shot is the best here. But this one gives me a no-brainer. Swims right up to me. They're all about the same size, but I noticed he was a little bit bigger, and that was the green light for me. Took that shot and ended up landing my first wahoo of the day. I think he ended up being the biggest of the trip, and he was about 20 pounds. So definitely a nice one. Alright, y'all, that was pretty sick. There was a school, a ton of them, and Matt got the first one, which is that one right there. Then Drake got one right before me, and I got this guy. Pretty nice one, probably about, I don't know, 30 pounds, maybe a little less. And as you guys saw, completely stoned him. Troy is still in the water. There's a ton of them to be had, so we're gonna keep diving. There's some big mahi. Matt saw a couple, so definitely worth the time. So catch you guys back in the water. Well, I'm the boatie, so whenever I do get back in the water. So now I'm in the boat. Matt got back in the water, and as soon as he got in the water, dropped him off, and there was a very nice bull mahi that swam up to him, and he threw a flasher in front of it, as you can tell. Takes that shot, and this thing is freaking out. I'd never shot one before, so this was some pretty cool stuff to witness from the boat. Shoots this thing, and the one thing I noticed is once you shoot them, they don't like to go down. Mahi really like to stay at the surface, so you can get a hold of them pretty quickly, but they'll give you a run for your money for sure. So Matt blasts this thing, and he's fighting him pretty hard. He knows he's got a really good holding shot. That shaft is all the way through him, and it really doesn't have a chance of pulling off. So as you can see, he's doing it pretty good here. Matt's got a mahi, big one. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That's what I like to see. Let me see him. Woo. Hold him up sideways if you can get the whole thing out. Yeah! Sick. It's awesome. So Matt hopped back in the boat. I hopped in the water here. I've still got a float line attached to my gun here, but got a couple mahi swimming around. They're pretty small, and I didn't really want to take a shot on any of those guys. They're probably only a couple weeks old, so I was like, I'll leave those for later. Somebody else can get those in a month, and they'll be 10 pounds. So some pretty cool fish to see, just in general. There was one a little bit bigger in front of me here that if it gave me a really good shot, I might have taken it, but it swam off pretty quick. All right, I'm rolling. Alrighty, just finished up the first spot. I got my first wahoo of the day. Probably about 25, maybe 30 pounds. Not too bad, so we're gonna keep moving. They got 2 nice mahi and 2 nice wahoos, so we still got a ways to go, but get to the next spot.
5 more for a limit.
So we got to this next spot, and I was feeling pretty confident, and that was definitely a mistake. I should have just kept the gun in my hand. As you can tell, I'm now holding a pole spear. Not the smartest move on my part. There's a ton of tuna right there. They're all blackfins, and they're not like giants. They're probably about 8 to 10 pounds, but that's not what I was really worried about. I was just taking a look at them. We'd already seen a couple schools like that there was just a ton of them. But I spotted a school of wahoo basically as soon as I got to the surface, so I threw a flasher, and as you can tell, there's a ton of them. They're real feisty. That one gave me an easy shot, and I just fully missed it. Shot right under him. I should have taken a duck dive as soon as I saw the whole school, and I would have definitely landed that fish. But as you can tell, I'm trying to deal with that slip tip and get this thing loaded back up, and there's just tons of them swimming past me. But got it reloaded, and now they're already swimming past me, and I don't know if you saw it, but my flasher sank, so I I didn't really have a choice to keep chasing him. I had to turn around and grab that so I could attempt to catch back up to him. But threw it out here in front of me, and now they were like already past it. They didn't really want to turn around for that, so swim over to it. There's a couple still pretty close, but not like fully pole spear range. Definitely could have shot them with a gun, but I ended up deciding to send Hail Mary here, and it definitely doesn't work out. I just should have shot a gun when I first got in the water here. But Matt had a big brain moment, and he actually kept a gun in his hand when he got in the water here, and this is how it worked out for him. He throws a flasher in front of that school that I just saw, and now that he's actually holding a gun, he gets a pretty good opportunity here. They're swimming by him on the surface, so he does a little bit of a duck dive here. Swims pretty close to him. Absolutely spines his fish. It's not going anywhere.
Hey, big Mahi! Big Mahi over here.
I don't know if you can hear him. I might have just spoke over him, but he's yelling at Troy. There's big Mahi. There's all sorts of stuff going on, and he's got an unloaded gun because he just shot a really nice wahoo here. But that was pretty sick to see. And then as he's dealing with that, and Troy's messing with those Mahi, trying to get a shot on those, they swim back over towards me, and you'll see here in a second. I'm still holding that pole spear. I spot him, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get a shot on these things. So I go down. I had already thrown a flasher. Started up my GoPro as fast as I could, but now they're on the surface. I could have probably left that flasher sinking and got a shot on them, but if I had a gun, I could have just blasted one. So, oh well, you win some, you lose some. Wasn't the end of the world. Saw a ton more fish this day. We're still only getting started. Second little spot thing that we're checking, and now I'm headed down. Spotted that school of tuna again, but since I'm holding the pole spear, I couldn't really get a shot on them. And I now realize that I already messed up, and I should just be holding a gun. So I was like headed back towards the boat to swap out for a gun. And this first and second spot is going amazing. I didn't know they were even going to have this many fish on them. And it was pretty cool just to see this many fish of this caliber, because we hardly ever see these types of fish down in the Bradenton area where I dive out of a lot. So it's pretty cool just to see them. So as you can tell, there's a ton of wahoo still swimming around. That was a huge school that I saw in the beginning with that pole spear. So I'm still trying to get a shot on one now that I have a gun in my hand. And as you can tell, they're still pretty feisty here. So if I would have done a duck dive a little bit sooner, I should have thrown that flasher and immediately gone down. But if I had done that, I could have got a shot on that wahoo that swam right up to it. But I was still learning. I haven't done much blue water hunting, so it was pretty cool just to see this many type of fish. But immediately after that, I threw a flasher again, and a giant bull mahi swam up to it. I think he ended up being like 30-something pounds, maybe 31, 29, 31, something like that. But my first and biggest mahi, super cool to see in the water. Swam up, gave me a really nice shot, took it, and I'll kind of let you watch the rest of this. I sped up a little bit of it because he gave me a run for my money, and on that orca gun that I was shooting, I only had a single flopper shaft, so I didn't want to pull too hard and end up pulling this fish off. But you'll see, I kind of get a little scared at the end here, and finally end up just asking for a backup shot just to make sure I'm fully going to land this fish.
Hey, Matt. Matt, can you give me a quick backup? Thanks.
Hold that thing up. Dude, that's awesome. Oh, yes! Come on, baby!
My first Mahi.
That's your first Mahi?
Yep.
Ever? Oh my god. Dude, you slayed your first. Heck yeah, dude.
So I landed that Mahi, and I was super hyped up about that. And then we swapped spots because there wasn't like that many fish that were still sticking around after a couple other guys shot some stuff. So got in the water there. There's a huge school of blackfins with a couple yellowfin in it. You couldn't see them in the video, unfortunately. But I did a couple more deeper drops and saw a tight packed school of whoos on the surface. And as you'll tell, I kind of chased these guys a little bit too hard, and they kind of just start heading out. I shouldn't have followed them that hard. So I learned from my mistake here, and I don't know if it's the exact same school, but they were doing pretty much the same thing. And I did another drop here. I was at about 70 foot, hoping to see some yellowfin or something like that swim by, but I'm not chasing these guys nearly as hard, just kind of slowly swimming up towards the surface. And that one gave me a pretty good shot here, so I decided I was going to take it.
Woohoo!
As you can tell, this is one of those shots where I shot in between the back two fins, the thicker meat on one of these guys. So as you can tell, it is a pretty good holding shot, especially for having a single flopper shaft on a reel. So if you're shooting a float line with a slip tip, it definitely wouldn't have ripped that much, but ended up landing my second who of the day.
He's not big. He's the biggest one I saw, though.
So now I've shot a Mahi and a wahoo, so I was pretty happy about that. And I had never shot a tuna, so I decided I was gonna go after one of these guys. We set back up to do another drift. We set up a lot farther up current, and now we're drifting back. And I spotted one out of the school that I really kind of liked, so I took a shot on him, and this thing gave me a run for my money. He fought a lot harder than anything else I shot this day. I think it's because I shot a little bit too high, and I got him like in the back, so he had a lot more like leverage on the shaft, but he was fighting hard for how small he was. It was pretty interesting to see how hard he was fighting. Alrighty, y'all. Day is going very good. We have a blackfin tuna. My first tuna I've ever shot. Pretty nice guy. Had to take a pretty far shot, but not bad at all. The boys are in the water. I got a tuna, a Mahi, and 2 wahoo. So having a pretty good day, and I might hop back in a little bit once they shoot something and see how it goes. So catch you in the water, maybe. So I hopped in the boat. We're doing a little bit of a different drift here, and as you can tell, this is Matt's cam. Troy just went down and shot another really nice Mahi. I think he was about a pound or 2 bigger than the one that I shot. So definitely a solid one right there. But as you can tell, this thing is still fresh. And Troy spots another couple of them, but unfortunately they wouldn't come close enough once they saw their buddy get shot. But Troy ended up landing a real nice one.
Troy got a nice Mahi. Yeah! Troy just got a Mahi. Nice one. Hold it up. Yeah. Here we go. That's a big one.
That's a good one.
Sheesh. Nice fish.
So now we're having kind of a record day here. It's kind of going crazy how many fish we've shot so far. I just missed a pretty good Mahi there, and I was right next to Matt. So I was like, Matt, come take a shot. And I don't know if it was the same one, but another nice one swam up to him. He got a shot off on it, and as soon as he shot that fish, another Mahi swam in with the Mahi that he just shot, and there's just so much going on. So swims up to me. GoPro angle was kind of weird there, but got a nice shot on him and landed my second Mahi of the day. Second Mahi ever, so I was pretty happy about that.
Really big wahoo. I said there's a really big wahoo. Really?
Unfortunately, I couldn't find that wahoo I was talking about, but did go back down here and shot a nice Mahi. He's not a giant. He's the smallest one I shot all day, but definitely not a bad one. So I was pretty happy about that, and that kind of concluded our day.
Alrighty, y'all. We're heading in. We have Drake and Matt and Troy and a lot of fish on the deck. We have a lot of bull mahi, some nice tuna guys, and some nice wahoo. So we're gonna check one more spot on the way in and see how it goes. Nice little sunset, and we might see you later.
All right, y'all. It's about a month after, and that last spot definitely didn't work out. We jumped in the water there, and there wasn't much going on. There were some little almacos and stuff, but nothing legit. So it's about a month later, and look what came in. Matt did an awesome job on these fish prints. Can't thank him enough. These things are really cool. This is that first Mahi of the day that I got, and my biggest Mahi, of course, because it was my first. But and then I got this first wahoo of the day that I shot. So very happy with how these turned out. Did an awesome job. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.